Good evening. This is Debra V. Wilson. I am in England. The day is Wednesday. The day is Wednesday. The date is the 4th of April 2019, and the time is 1900 hours and 45 minutes GMT. So I apologize in advance. I'm going to be doing a lot of hemming and hawing, but I wanted to do this podcast because of the subject matter at hand is applicable to my research. Right. So today, here in the UK, we became aware that some soldiers, British soldiers, utilized a poster with a picture of opposition leader Jeremy Corbyn, his face, as target practice. And then it was posted on social media, and of course, once it's posted on social media, it's posted to the world. And at the end of this clip, which I'm hoping YouTube doesn't delete, it says, one of the soldiers says, "Happy with that." And that's the point that I want to attempt to analyze. So as a marker of my where I stand in terms of generations, I'm 61 years of age. I've had done many things in America where I had a career in the business world, and one of those things was I worked as in HR, human resources. And I remember there was a time that a department it was year end, and they were quite busy, and they came in on Saturday and Sunday to close the books. It was a hectic time for the department. When the office was open for business again, traditional business hours, that was Monday, someone from a different department saw a photograph of the lead VP over accounting. And they had taken a photograph of him from the company website, printed it out, and put a Hitler mustache on it. And this, we did this investigation, and this was, of course, distasteful, inappropriate, but it was a group of, as it turns out, it was a group of young men who did this, and they were very pleased at what they had done because they felt the reason they spent their weekend on this clothes was because it was poor planning by higher ups. They didn't say happy with that. It was my responsibility to explain to them the ramifications of what they had done, but they felt quite resolute in their feelings that they had borne the burden of poor management burden of poor management by a higher up. So they gave voice to that by posting this in this cubicle, one of the young men's cubicle, and it wasn't supposed to be seen by the company. But it was definitely supposed to be seen by the other employees who were there over the weekend. They were giving voice to self, they were giving voice to who they were giving voice to the situation they were in. Of course, not appropriate. They were verbally disciplined, explained the inappropriateness of what they had done, and they apologized to the senior management and apologized to the department. Right. So I think now of the reach and capability we each have because of the World Wide Web to give voice to self, to give voice to the way in which we construct our identity in any given situation, how we give voice to who and what we are. At 61 years of age, when I was 21, I could not have ever imagined that I could, in Chicago, London, England, Winnipeg, Manitoba in Canada, Haifa, Israel, or now in West Yorkshire typed something online and it would go all over the world. I would have never imagined that, but such is the reality. The globe, because of social media, has truly become a smaller place for those of us who have unfettered access to social media. That is a change in the human experience. What is not a change in the human experience, in my opinion, is the desire, and I would dare say the primal need to give voice to self, and how and why we see ourselves the way we do, and how we comport and organize the way we do, that now social media gives us a wider platform to say, this is who I am. And therefore, the modality of social media gives us the opportunity to increase the size of our tribe, whether it be fashion with the eyebrows. I'm sorry, I'm not a fashionista. Well, whether it be, and my terms are probably antiquated because fashion and everything moves at the speed of light, but the hipster, young men hipsters with the beards, right? That how we comport and how we construct and how we present and how we act, now we can give voice not just by putting a poster, how we feel and understand what we're experiencing. We don't just need to put a poster in a cubicle in an office building in Chicago. We can go on the World Wide Web and say, this is who I am, and I'm happy with that. The situation with the soldiers is an inappropriate one for many reasons. It's inappropriate because of their role. They're soldiers, and they're supposed to be impartial and not opining, editorializing on any aspects of the political sector. They believe what they believe, they feel what they feel, but it certainly should not be voiced during their place of employment when they're at work for the state. That's number one. Number two, I think it must be embarrassing for MOD, the Ministry of Defense. That's number two. Number three, the UK, Great Britain, and north of Ireland, we are going through a rather bumpy time in which pain and misunderstandings and identity and fear are all bubbling up and intersecting and bouncing off of each other. This is yet another manifestation of it. The next thing this gives voice to is some in the security, defense sector don't trust the opposition leader. The opposition leader is a hair's breadth away from the Prime Minister's office. This yet again gives voice to that. But I would argue again that the number one thing this inappropriate incident gives voice to is this, I believe, primal need to not only say who I am and that I'm happy with that, but to always seek a tribe. The tribe has just gotten bigger because of social media. So part of what I do, it is actually what I do, is the analysis of Britain's national security model, which has many pieces to it. The two pieces that I focus on are the police, particularly SO15, and that's counterterrorism police, and MI5, the security services. And speaking of MI5, there's an article that I'm going to post in which they talk about the behavioral science unit, MI5's behavioral science unit, and how they look at extreme personalities online, quote unquote, and online behavior and what that online space does when it intersects with extreme behavior. I would say what that online space does when it intersects with any behavior, The tribe is bigger. Your reach is bigger. It's far wider than you have to be a baby boomer to understand how we look at this and go, my God. I can only imagine if the worldwide, if social media existed to the extent it does now, if it existed to has such a capacity and reach. When I had the incident with the young men at the job, and that picture they took of the VP, had they posted that online to say, we're angry, poor planning by upper management, and our weekend is ruined, and we're under unnecessarily stress and bother because of it, and we're happy with that, happy to say that. The situation, MOD has to address it. MOD has said they're going to address it. They have validated the authenticity of this unfortunate video. But I think the power in the video, happy with that. And all of its inappropriateness, and the last thing we need here in Great Britain and north of Ireland is more drama in the soup, the mix that we are. But nevertheless, here lies yet another example to learn from. Because of social media, the tribe, the potential for the tribe to be bigger, to have further reach, has changed. But what has not changed is we have, as ever, and continue, seek to give voice to who we are, what we are, and why we construct the way we do, and we're happy with that. Hope this made sense to you. This is Debra V. Wilson. I am in England. I'm going to go back to working on my research, but when I saw this situation, I felt inspired to opine. Thank you for listening.